So in episode 2 of Will It WLED, I have, in my opinion, one of the most underrated product designs I've ever come across in Govi's new Gaming Pro light bars. These came out about 5 months ago, and I've really yet to see anyone talking about this product, but that's all about to change. Opening things up, you have the getting started and welcome information, a small 12-volt 2-amp power supply, the controller, and then the 2 light bars that are connected together. Now, one of the things that's cool about these is that each lamp is going to have 24 individually addressable LEDs, which are essentially split up into 3 different parts. First, you have the base, and this is going to have 4 LEDs that will light up the edge-lit acrylic pieces mounted inside. Then you'll have 10 addressable lights housed behind this milky white diffuser, and you'll see here in a little bit, but this cover provides the best diffusion I've ever seen, bar none. And finally, on the back side is where the remaining 10 LEDs will be located along this futuristic Tron-inspired panel. You have some cyberpunk type graphics where the light will shine through, as well as some more edge-lit acrylic pieces jetting out. So to begin the process, you'll notice that these 2 lights come together at the split right here. And to make it easier to explain what I'm doing, I think it's best to cut them free to create 2 completely separate units. Next, I'll use my stripper to cut back the outer sheath, and underneath we have 3 wires. Red will be our voltage, yellow is data, and then they have a bare ground wire. Then go ahead and strip back the red and yellow lines to get to those wires. You can do the exact same thing on the other light, and the only difference here is that they're using a white wire for data instead of the yellow like they did on the other one. Now, since we do have that completely bare ground wire, it's probably a good idea to get that covered. I'll be using a small heat shrink tube that will go over the exposed wire, and then a slightly larger one at the split point. So to try getting these converted, I'll be using this WLED controller from Glidopto that has 2 data outputs, which will be perfect for this. The top is GPIO 16 and has our voltage, data, and ground slots, and this is where I'll be connecting one of our towers to. Red will go into the V opening, the white data wire into the D slot, and our black into the G connector. Then I'll do the same thing for the other light going to the bottom GPIO 2 output, with the yellow wire getting connected to the D opening. Moving on to the power, and thankfully we can use the included 12-volt 2-amp unit, but since they are using a mini barrel plug, we first have to cut that off, and then I'll pull apart the wires. Now bringing this in closer, just make a mental note that the wire that has the lines on it right here is your negative, with of course the other being your positive. Strip back both of these, and then it's as simple as connecting the positive to our voltage on the input side, and then the other wire that has the line on it goes into the negative. Then plug it in, and we're one step closer. Now, if any of you are unfamiliar with getting WLED set up, go to your Wi-Fi and connect to the WLED-AP network and enter in WLED1234, all lowercase if it asks for a password. This screen should then automatically come up and click Wi-Fi settings. Go ahead and scan and connect to your home network, enter in your password, and hit save. Reconnect to your home network and then download and open up the WLED app. Hit the plus icon top right and scan for devices, then the check mark, and you should see your new WLED device. Go into that, click on settings, and then WLED preferences. I'll set the brightness limiter to 1500 milliamps, scroll down and make sure WS281X is selected, color order is RGB. This is our top data output, which is GPIO 16, and for this first lamp, we know there's a total of 24 LEDs, so that's what I'll put for length. Now, if you want to control these lamps separately versus having all the lights act as one continuous run, further down, check the box that says make segment for each output. And then a little higher up, click the plus icon. Here we're adding the second light, which is connected to the GPIO 2 output. Make sure it says WS281X, switch color order to RGB, and again the length is 24. Go ahead and hit save, and just like that, we've converted these to WLED. So these are without a doubt one of the coolest things I've ever seen, but before going into the best way to configure them, let's just appreciate the lighting effect for a moment. You have the bottom LEDs that look like some sci-fi energy beams, the panel with the graphics in acrylic looks like something straight out of Tron, and I'll turn the brightness down so you can get a better feel for just how perfect the lights get diffused on the main side for a smooth neon glow. Alright, so let's take a quick dive into segments, since this is one of the big advantages you have with WLED. Now, because I checked that box to create separate segments for each output, when you go into segments, you'll see that we have the 2 split up. The default segment 0 has our first lamp, which we already told the program has 24 LEDs. Then segment 1 is our second lamp, and again has the 24 LEDs. So when I have both boxes checked here, whatever I do is going to change both lights to the effect and color scheme, but acting as 2 separate devices. And in case any of you are new to WLED, once you choose an effect, make sure to play around with the sliders at the bottom to adjust different attributes of that animation. Let's now go back to our segments, and let's say you wanted each lamp to do completely different things. First, you only want to check the box of the device you want to change, and by doing this, whatever effect and color you choose will only take effect on the light you have selected. So you can then go back and uncheck the first box and select our second light, and now we're only controlling the lamp on the right. Another thing you can easily do with WLED is have all of our lights act as one continuous run. First, click the Reset Segment button, and that clears things out and puts all 48 of our LEDs into one group. Now when you do an animation, it travels from our first light and seamlessly jumps to our second light where it continues. But what if you want to control each of the main areas on both lamps? Instead of the segment containing all 48 LEDs, I'm going to change this to only our first 4. All the other lights automatically turn off, and we now only have the first 4 LEDs lit up that are part of the base. I'll create another segment and have that only be for the next 10 lights which are part of the main diffuser channel, and then I'll make another segment for the final 10 LEDs on the first lamp. And for the right, another segment that adds 4 LEDs for the base, another 10 for the main diffuser, and another 10 for the back. Now hopefully it's all starting to click for you, because you can choose whatever section of lights you want and then change them independently to whatever animation, color scheme, and brightness that suits your style. So these are advertised as gaming lights, and luckily I have the perfect spot to try them out. But considering these are now running WLED, you can take advantage of programs like Signal RGB if you wanted to easily set up screen mirroring like I have here. And I know I've said this before, but screen ambient setups are truly my favorite types of projects to work on, because there's nothing quite like painting your room with lights to feel totally immersed in whatever you're watching or playing. Well, that about does it for episode 2 of Will It WLED, and links to all the products and relevant videos will be in the description. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, I hope you have a blessed day.